A few years ago, I went on a little bit of a zombie movie marathon, and I basically watched all the popular ones that came out in the last 30 years. And I probably watched a good 10 of them, including 28 Days and Weeks Later. But after finishing the most recent installation in the trilogy, I have to say that 28 Years Later is by far the most insane zombie movie I have ever seen. But before I start talking about it, let me give you guys a quick refresher on the last two films to set the mood. 28 Days Later is the first movie of the trilogy, and it takes place in 2002, where some scientists in Great Britain have captured and are experimenting on some chimpanzees. And they're not just testing cosmetics on these animals, they're straight up torturing them. A group of animal rights activists manage to break in though, and are about to set them free when this scientist tries to stop them. He warns them that the animals are infected with a virus called Rage that's highly infectious. The activists don't listen to him and set the animals free, and immediately get attacked, spreading the virus to everyone in the room, and basically becoming patient zero for the outbreak that would take over the country. In the next movie, 28 Weeks Later, we see a husband and wife who are holed up in a safe house, but it gets overrun when a little boy comes in knocking. He leads a whole horde of zombies to the house, which quickly gets taken over by them, infecting everyone almost instantly. And instead of trying to make a run for it, Alice, the wife, stays back to try and save the kid, and Don, her husband, saves himself and manages to barely escape with his life. Honestly though, his wife has almost no survival instincts. She gets trapped in this bathroom with this big window, and instead of trying to open it like a normal person, she just screams for her husband, who is definitely not coming back to save her ass.
Why are you running? Why are you running?
The movie flashes forward 28 weeks later, and the UK is no longer infected with the virus. All of the zombies died from starvation, and the United States has set up a quarantine and started bringing back refugees, which honestly is the stupidest idea ever. They should just nuke the entire country because there's no possible way to get rid of all the bodies and blood left behind. It's just a disaster waiting to happen, which is exactly what happens in this movie. Alice, the wife, who was left behind, is found to be alive. She's infected with the virus, but is asymptomatic. They bring her to the safe zone, where her husband sneaks in and kisses her, becoming infected and spreading the virus to everyone, which leads to the government destroying the project and killing everyone involved. Both of the kids manage to survive and are brought to Paris, but the son, just like his mom, is infected but asymptomatic. He spreads the disease and causes an outburst in Paris, which leads to it being nuked. And honestly, good riddance. I visited Paris once, and the number of rats I saw would shock and disgust even someone from New York. You cannot walk at night without a few of them running by you. But real talk, Don has to be up there for the worst husband ever in a movie. First, he leaves his wife to die, then he lies to his kids about what happened to her. Luckily, she happens to be one of the only people immune to the virus, and months later, after being abandoned, she's finally found and reunited with her family, only to be murdered by her husband, who puts hers and everyone's life in danger by visiting her. The worst part is, because she's immune to the virus, she doesn't even turn into a zombie. She's just dead. But finally, we get to 28 years later, and if you haven't watched it, spoiler warning for the rest of the video. Just like the last two movies, this one opens up with another gruesome scene. A bunch of kids are in a room watching Teletubbies when the house is overrun with zombies. The only one who manages to escape is this little boy named Jimmy. He runs to the church where his dad, who's the priest, is praying, and instead of comforting his kid and trying to survive, he turns out to be a religious nut who thinks this is God's plan, and he literally embraces death with open arms. But while his dad dies, Jimmy hides underneath the floorboard, and that's the last we see of him. Honestly though, I would probably kill myself too.
Don't try to stop me.
Oh my God.
If there was a zombie apocalypse, I'm not trying to survive in a world like that. I'd be just like his dad. The only difference is, I would take matters into my own hands. I'm going out in a blaze of glory and taking as many of these fuckers with me. But we flash forward to the present, well, the present in this universe, which takes place in 2030, which I know all the movies have 28 in the titles of them, but did they have to continue the trend with this one? It's not like it actually has any significant meaning in the story. We could just set this one in 2025. But, oh well. Off the coast of Britain is a little island where our main character Spike and his two parents live. Spike, who's just 12 years old, is going on his first trip outside the community with his dad Jamie. We also meet Spike's mom, who's sick with something, but it's not really clear what. She reminds me of Grandpa Joe from Willy Wonka, who just lays in bed all day, and it's unclear what's wrong with them. But when she finds out that Spike is going out for the first time, she starts tweaking hard and loses it on her husband, calling him a baby killer, and then just repeatedly screaming cunt.
Cunt!
which I'm kind of on her side for. Other people in the community have said 12 is a little early to go out, and 14, 15 is usually the regular age, so why is his dad in a rush to put his life in danger? The zombies aren't going anywhere. The two set off through town, and everybody is hyping Spike up. He's got girls giving him little gifts, and people congratulating him, which makes sense because he's just a little kid basically going into a war zone. They get to the gate and get the rundown on how everything works. They're completely on their own. The island is only accessible during low tide, and if they get stuck, no one's coming to help them. All valid rules, honestly. They make their way across the bridge when they come across a few zombies, which look nothing like any of the ones from previous movies.
What the hell is even that?
These ones are super fat, veiny, and pale. They're really slow and completely naked, so Spike easily gets his first kill, but that doesn't stop one of them from almost sneaking up on them. The designs of these zombies honestly just make me laugh though, and they remind me of that guy from the Dune movie. I don't know his name, but I'll throw his picture up side by side and you let me know if you agree. But after that, they walk to this house where they find someone infected, hanging upside down with a bag over their head, and Jamie tells Spike to kill them. He wants to teach his son to get used to killing infected, and even though he just killed one, he hesitates for some reason until it's basically free. But at least they found a frisbee. After that, they come across a buck who's been ripped apart, and they notice that the head of it is stuck against a tree, which basically means that there's an alpha nearby, so they decide to go back home, because alphas are smarter and stronger than normal zombies. But as they're heading back, they're spotted by the alpha, and I just want to say that the design of the alphas are wild. For some reason, they gave it a massive cock, like absurdly large.
Whoa, whoops, oh! I dropped my monster condom that I used for my Magnum Dong.
Fuck killing people. That thing could get a job at Brazzers. I feel bad for the makeup artist that had to work on these things though. Imagine your job is to create a monster dong, and you spend hours every day attaching it to the actors. I hope they were paid well at least. But the two of them start running away, and some of the fast zombies start chasing them. They manage to take out a few of them, but end up having to hide in the attic of a building. While they're up there, Spike spots a fire, but his dad tells him he doesn't know what it is. He also apologizes for missing all his shots when they were being chased. But his dad still hypes him up. They spend the night up there waiting for the tide to go down so they can go home. But in the middle of the night, they're woken up to the house breaking down. I don't know how anyone could fall asleep in those conditions, let alone stay asleep while the house starts falling. Spike needs to be physically dragged out of the house because he's half asleep. But they manage to escape just in time and make their way to the bridge. For some reason, they take off their shoes and walk slowly towards the community. They're about halfway back when all of a sudden, they see the alpha chasing after them. And besides for how terrifying a naked, roided out zombie chasing you would be, this scene is so pretty with the night sky and the water. But Spike and his dad make a run for it, and this scene pissed me off. Spike falls, and he's just ready to give up. You are in a life and death situation. Get the fuck up. The alpha is right behind them, and a couple seconds away from getting them, when the people at the gate start firing arrows at it. It's stunned for a few seconds, but it just makes him madder, and he charges at them again. The people at the gate pull out the big guns and shoot him with something that looks like the Expo from Clash Royale, and he's finally down. What happens next, though, is so dramatic from everyone. Jamie starts tweaking, yelling at them to let him in, but the people at the gate won't open up and make them wait for a bit. But what does it matter if they make you wait? The alpha's already dead. But like also on the other side, why make them wait when they're clearly not infected? Once they're inside though, everybody's celebrating Spike and his first journey outside. Jamie's telling the story of the night and exaggerating a little bit to make Spike seem better than he was, because he's proud of his son. He's actually a really good dad, not so much husband, but really caring and supportive of his son. Actually, maybe not, because Spike is kind of wasted and throws up by the end of the night. He sees his dad and another woman leaving the party. He follows them and catches his dad going to town on another woman's roast beef. Very upset, he goes back to his mom's where she's being watched by Sam, an older man from the community. They talk for a bit and get to the topic of the fire he saw on the mainland. Sam lets him know about a man who used to be a doctor, but he went mad after the outbreak. The next morning, Jamie gets back home and lays in bed with his wife and son, and the way that Isla and Jamie interact makes me feel like she might know he cheats. Maybe they've even talked about it before, and she's okay with it, but Spike is definitely not. He leaves the room when his dad joins them, and Jamie, who seems to hate being alone with his wife, goes down to make breakfast. Spike confronts him about what happened last night, his dad lying about not knowing about the fire, about his mom's health, and about his dad cheating.
If she dies, are you gonna be with Rosie?
Watch your mouth.
What would her Davy think about
I said, watch your bloody mouth!
Spike runs upstairs to his mommy, and Jamie follows him, obviously feeling bad about what he did. But Spike kicks him out of the room.
Get the fuck away from us!
From what?
Jamie takes the knife from him, but he knows he's in the wrong, so he gives him back his knife and leaves. And as much as Jamie's in the wrong for cheating and then hitting his son when he gets called out on it, his character just seems so human. I'm sure having a wife who's bedridden while going through the apocalypse is not an easy situation to be in. And while he has a lot of flaws, he also has a lot of redeeming qualities. The second half of this movie has a completely different vibe than the first half. Spike creates a distraction and sneaks out of the community with his mom. They head out for the fire and make camp that night at a church. It's nice seeing them get to interact and the cute relationship they have. She even defends Jamie, and we get to finally see Spike get to be a kid with his mom. But he takes watch that night as she goes to sleep, and he ends up passing out and almost getting bitten, but his mom kills it. Spike is honestly the last person I would want staying awake and watching over me. He just keeps knocking out and is a heavy ass sleeper. How don't you wake up from a zombie's head being slammed into a wall a few feet away from you? But while all this is going down, a group of soldiers have washed onto the shores of the mainland nearby. Only one manages to escape being killed, and while Isla and Spike are getting chased by some of the infected, they're saved by him when he kills them all by creating an explosion in a gas station. Eric, the soldier that helped them, is kind of a douchebag, and even Isla, who's disoriented from the explosion, can see that.
And this is your father, Spike.
What? He's just being silly, Mom. He's being a dick. Mom! I know a dick when I see one.
But he was one of the best characters in the movie. Just having him react to all the crazy shit going on made the movie so much better. Like when Isla calls Spike daddy.
Thank you, Daddy.
Jesus Christ, can this get any more fucked up?
It also goes the opposite way though. Eric talks about modern things and Spike has no idea what he's talking about.
My best friend from school, he's a delivery driver. Oh, you don't know what a delivery driver is. He, delivers packages. You know, people order stuff online. But you don't know what online is.
There's also a great scene where he shows Spike his fiancée back home.
It's my fiance. Or ex.
What's wrong with her face?
What do you mean?
She looks weird.
You're weird.
There's this girl in my town who has the same thing.
Thing.
She's allergic to shellfish. So if she eats scallops, then her whole mouth gets dead fat and swells up.
This one hits close to home though. I'm from Miami, and this is literally most girls. But eventually, they start making their way towards Dr. Kelsing when Isla starts running towards a screaming noise. Spike and Eric follow her, and when they catch up, they see her holding the hands of one of the infected while she's giving birth, which was definitely one of the weirdest things I've ever watched, not counting incognito mode. After the mom gives birth, she lunges at the group and Eric shoots her. Then, he starts screaming at the top of his lungs for some reason, telling them to put the baby down. Which, like, why does he care so much? Like, I get he's in shock, but why was he ready to kill them over this baby? It literally poses no threat to him. But before he can shoot them, the Alpha pulls up Eric's spine out of his body. He starts chasing them through this subway cart, looking pretty pissed that they just killed his zombie baby mama. But right before he's about to catch them, he's shot with a blow dart full of drugs in it. Now, while he's fully incapacitated, the two of them and Dr. Kelsing decide to leave the Alpha just chilling there, while they leave with his baby. A very smart decision by our protagonist that definitely won't come back to haunt them later. Kelsing takes them to his bone temple that he's way too creepily obsessed with. He goes right into turning Eric into a skull and then adds him to his collection. After that, Spike explains why they came and Dr. Kelsing gives Isla a checkup, letting her know that she's dying from cancer. The doctor and his mom try to explain to Spike that there's nothing they can do and try to comfort him. His mom and the doctor come to some unspoken agreement to put her out of her misery and just drug Spike so he'll remain calm about it. The scene was sad, but I just feel like if those are your last moments with your son, you're gonna show him a little more love. Maybe give him some words to remember you by, or even give him some words to tell his dad and your husband. I don't know, it just felt a little cold. But after Spike's been drugged, the doctor shoots Isla and immediately starts burning her body and turning her into a skeleton. And without having any time to process her death, Spike is holding her skull. I would have to throw hands if you handed my mom's skull to me. Like, that is not normal behavior. Maybe bury her or something, but handing the kid whose mom just died the skeleton of his deceased mother is one of the evilest things that happens in this movie. The next day, Kelsing wakes up Spike and tells him to hide. All of a sudden, the Alpha from the day earlier that they had completely incapacitated is back and trying to kill them. He gets a hold of the doctor and is about to kill him, but Spike stabs him with the drugs, which knocks him out. The doctor, after immediately just having his life saved by Spike, tells him it's time to go home.
I think it's time for you and the baby to go home.
He goes back to the island, but not to stay. He drops off the baby, naming her after his mom, and leaves a note for his dad. He tells him he's got to find himself or some shit like that, and then immediately almost dies before the movie just decides it's time to do the most random shit ever, and we get this circus act of zombie killers, and the leader of the group is Jimmy, the kid from the first 5 minutes of the movie, literally the most random way that could have possibly ended the movie. This movie really didn't know what tone they wanted to go with. The first half is this serious thriller about a son and father going to the mainland and almost dying. The second half is a dramatic action movie about a son coming to terms with his mom dying. And the last 3 minutes are honestly indescribable. I just know it didn't feel like the same film. Overall though, I would give the movie an 8 out of 10. The movie made me like every character, even the alpha, and the action scenes were beautiful and entertaining. I love the score of the movie and the poem that was getting recited in the first half.
Boom, 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 moving up and down again. There's no discharge in the war.
It added so much tension and atmosphere. And for a movie that was supposedly shot on iPhone, even though they had the most insane rigs, it was a seriously pretty movie. Shout out to the props people too, because everything looked great. And besides for the cohesiveness of the story and the overall plot, the movie was one of the most fun films of the year. But if you made it this far into the video, I just want to thank you for watching, and if you enjoyed the video, I would kindly ask you to subscribe and hit the like button because it really helps me to continue making these.
Bye, have a beautiful time.